Hello everybody, I'm RB103 and this week we've been reading business and IP law. I think it's important to know business law because I'm running a business and I don't want to come into any pitfalls or, there's a lot of legislation about it. You can find it at legislation.gov if you want to read through all the boomph. I'm sure there's summaries available. And IP laws because I want to protect my ideas. We've got notebooks like this one, filled over the years, and I want to transfer them and the ideas within them into the company's kind of possession. So it's important to know what laws there are around to protect the ideas and what kind of licenses when we come to actually trading some of these as products, what kind of licenses are available, how patents work, and things like Creative Commons licenses, open hardware sound quite interesting. We'll see where we go depending on what kind of products we make. Ideally, if we make an electronics product, I'd quite like to have it open hardware because I really quite like the idea of open hardware and kind of open source and stuff like that. Whether we would actually do that or not, whether you can run a business doing that or not, I'm not sure at the moment, but I think all these things are important to know and kind of important to keep in mind as we go forward. So this week I've also begun the very slow process of transferring IP into the company's name. Now, translating some crazy sketches into proper engineering drawings takes a long time. I don't have a CAD package, so at the moment I'm hand drafting, which is kind of laborious and difficult, but I think it's very important. Hand drafting skills are really useful and unfortunately dying out at the moment. So it's going to take a long time getting those together, and we'll be doing that here and there, maybe a couple of hours here and there, nothing too strenuous and involved in that respect, because there are other things, more relevant things I'd like to work on going forwards. So this week we've also been trying to set out our business objectives, primarily the short to medium terms, kind of maybe 3 to 5 years. Our business objectives in that time would be to acquire a factory and tooling in order to build some of the more complicated and more interesting designs I have and want to build in my life. So what we need is a factory, so we have workspace to build stuff in. We're going to need skilled workers, very skilled workers ideally. You can never go wrong with skilled operators. They know the tooling are much better than I can ever. So with that in mind, what tooling will we need? Coming from kind of a sheet metal manufacturing background, I'm quite happy with the sheet metal tooling that is around, and I would mainly be building from sheet metal. So we need a punch for profiling and just making the patterns, flat patterns. We'd need a press brake to bend them up into the form shapes. We're going to need something to profile. Now this is, the punch is very good for square edges, like rectangular profiles, simple profiles. It can punch them very fast and efficiently. But what we'll need is something for more complicated profiles. So a water jet cutter would be the ideal. Why a water jet cutter, not laser profiling? Well, the water jet cutter, it has much more ability to cut multiple different materials. It can cut a lot thicker materials. The word that would describe it perfectly evades me at the moment, unfortunately. The laser, which would be another kind of profiling tool that I would consider, is very good at profiling rapidly, quite precise profiles, and it's quite limited in the respect that you can only cut certain types of materials, non-reflective materials. Also, it's not very good to cut plastics due to the fumes. Stuff like that needs to be beared in mind when dealing with profiling on the laser. So with the water jet you can profile glass, thick section steel. You can, well, cut pretty much anything if you've got the time. The problem is it takes a lot of time. We'd ideally be using the water jet only for cutting large section material and stuff like that. You'd also need a lathe and a milling machine. Now, I'm not, well, we don't need too much kind of machined parts and requirement for machined parts. So a small kind of small size, medium sized lathe and milling machine would be required. Lathing for shaft work and milling machine for making precise machine parts and for positioning the shafts, for example. So we're going to need that. We're also going to need metalworking equipment in terms of welding equipment, you know, gas stores, metal stores, and we're going to need tables, jigs, stuff like that. We'd also need an electronics lab, probably quite a small one, a simple one, a couple of nice oscilloscopes, things like that. We'd also need overhead cranes to move material about the factory, especially large heavy section and stuff like that. So with that in mind, that's going to cost quite a bit. So we're going to need to make a reasonable amount of money before we get to that stage. And that's why it's a short to, well, a medium to kind of long term goal. Ideally short to medium term, we'll see how things pan out. So that's what I've been working on this week. I've also been putting together a couple of ideas of what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to post that in videos this weekend. So again, it's been quite brief and very fast talking, but hey, that's the way it goes. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers. Thanks.